I've been reading about the miracle of America. There's a book, The Making of America. I took it out of my father's office. We were cleaning it out. He died last year. It reminded me of the old days when I would travel with him and I'd sit in classes and fill in the blank. Dr. Skousen was teaching and I was learning about where we got our Constitution, how it came about, what monetary sanity was, how we won the Revolutionary War in spite of financial insanity. You know, the founders, they didn't want us to have fake money or paper money. They wanted real money as quickly as possible. And so when they created the Constitution, they wrote about the dollar, a Spanish mill dollar, a piece of 8. 0.7734 troy ounces of fine silver. And you take that dollar and you cut it into 8 pieces. Each one was a bit, and that total was a piece of 8. And they also talked about gold and silver coin. Article 1, Section 10 of the Constitution mentions it. It says no bills of credit, which is unbacked paper money. They denied the states having it, and they never mentioned the federal government could have it. They intended it never to be used because the founders hated paper money. They wanted us to use gold and silver coins, pirate money. Now, I want to give you a little history of money in the United States over the last 250 years, because remember, great civilizations last about 250 years. So what's happened in America? We started off terribly, and we, as quickly as we could, when we established the Constitution in 1787, went to gold and silver coin. And it was Spanish coins, pirate money, a piece of 8 and gold doubloons. And so what happened is people found it inconvenient to carry around a bunch of coins with them. And so in the 1830s, banks, and in particular the Bank of Kentucky, it was established by the state of Kentucky. So it was a state-based bank. They said, hey, bring us your gold, put it on deposit, and we'll write out little notes like a Bank of Kentucky note. I've got one for 12.5 cents. That's 1/8 of a dollar. That's a piece of 8. And you could exchange that and use that as currency in any of the states. They'd take it because they knew the Bank of Kentucky was good for it. They had real gold and silver. It got challenged in the Supreme Court. Supreme Court ruled, nope, they've got real gold and silver behind it. They're able to exchange those notes for real gold and silver. So if you want them to keep your gold and silver safe for you and just carry notes in your pocket for convenience, absolutely you can do that. And a lot of banks did that. There was a lot of issuance of private money in the 19th century. But along comes the Civil War, and there's expenses beyond what governments want to have. So what do? They printed up a lot of extra money. In the North, they called them greenbacks, because the back of the bill was green. It was fiat money. In the South, they had Confederate money. And boy, that lasted until the Civil War was over. But eventually people said, hey, this is terrible. It's not backed by anything. This is going to ruin society. And so there was a court case in the Supreme Court called Hepburn versus Griswold. It came out in 1870. No, it was not Katharine Hepburn versus Clark Griswold, but that is the first thing I think every time I read it. Bottom line, they said, hey, no unbacked paper money. The Constitution is clear. But guess what? Ulysses S. Grant packed the court the next year. Oh yeah, a Republican president, a war hero, packed the court the next year, and they came out and overturned Hepburn versus Griswold with a new court ruling called Knox versus Lee in 1871. And it basically said a government can print as much money as it wants to. It doesn't have to back it with anything.